the situation we're in today with Russia, from Ukraine and Europe to Syria, is more dangerous than was the preceding Cold War.
It's going to be 25 years this year since the end of the Soviet Union. And at that time, and for many years after, we were told that the Cold War was over. Yet now, we seem to be back to something akin to a new Cold War with Russia.
People have forgotten that there are consequences involved with a failed U.S.-Russian relationship. And the consequences are, let us not forget, and this is why we should all care, is that Russia is the only country on the face of the earth with the capacity to blow us off the map.
The narrative is the primary problem. For us here today, the narrative doesn't actually begin with Putin and his rise to the presidency of Russia, but back in the 1990s, when the Clinton administration decided we had won the Cold War, and part of the outcome was a decision, wicked, unwise, and ramifying today, to expand NATO toward Russia's borders.
Today we welcome Hungary, Poland, the Czech Republic, finally erasing the boundary line the Cold War artificially imposed on the continent of Europe.
And that expansion goes on. It's certainly the greatest expansion of a sphere of influence in modern times. And Russia, so far as I can tell, doesn't want a sphere of influence. It wants a zone of security on its borders, which means no foreign military bases, which means no NATO on its borders. That seems to me to be a very reasonable, rational position.
Russia simply has had no space to develop as an independent member of this enlarged Western system. It wanted to join it under Yeltsin. Putin in particular in his early years was very keen to join the system, but it couldn't do it as an equal. The Ukraine crisis was a symptom, not a cause of all of this.
My assessment today, Senator, is that Russia presents the greatest threat to our national security.
I mean, we're back, but we're back with a generational recklessness of discussion that badly frightens me. The only person who's forcefully stated an alternative policy toward Russia in his own crude way is Donald Trump.
Russia, instead of being this group that we don't talk to, that we're always, I think they can be used for the good. We want to knock out ISIS. They want to knock out ISIS just as much as us.
I'm not going to vote for it, but you're asking what's out there. It's a wasteland.
There's a lot of people say, in a sense, that we can't talk to Russia, we can't talk to China because they have different values. That in some ways, how can we talk to authoritarians in this whole language, which I think is a complete dead end.
A new narrative would be Russia and Putin are not solely and arguably mainly responsible for where we find ourselves today. That's the beginning of a dialogue. That's the beginning of negotiations, because the moment American officials say, okay, yes, we did a few things wrong, that means that we in the United States need to rethink.
We are at the moment dancing on the edge of the volcano. This is more dangerous than it was even at the Cold War. The fact that we're beginning to understand that we are on the edge is the beginning of understanding that we have to do something.